My mic is muted. So hello everybody. Getting started again here. Glad I noticed that now and not later. Owen is back live with us once again. It's over by Gerald R. Ford International Airport. We've got a couple accidents on the board, and you can see that we do have snow-covered roadways now. So we're going to be taking a look and seeing what's happening out there this evening. You guys are all staying safe. Hello,
National Weather Service.
Yep. Hello
Grand
to our
Rapids,
friends
off to our
at
right here.
hello to our friends at GRR. The Michigan Department of Transportation map is lit up like a Christmas tree on this side of the state. Lots of reds and oranges out there. Definitely more reds, oranges, and yellows now than there is green on this side of the state. So it's going to be a slow-going evening commute out there. How slippery is it where you're at there, Owen?
Roads are slick. I'm in four-wheel drive and not having any slippage when accelerating. The wet snow, when it's a thin layer, actually makes it okay for braking. But it's that getting going, especially if you're in a two-wheel drive vehicle, that's where you're probably going to struggle the most. I do see a vehicle in the ditch off to my left here out of frame, and looks like another vehicle pulled into a parking lot. So, yeah, so some slick spots, but I don't think what I'm experiencing right now is any West Michigander can't handle. So,
Thanks for that update. Hey, Levi, good to see you again, sir. We did get a 63 mile per hour wind gust measured at the Grand Haven lighthouse earlier. For those of you who were here for our last stream, you might recall that we were approaching 28,000 statewide power outages. We're now up to almost 36,000 statewide power outages. Wow. We have 5,000 customers out in Ottawa County, 1,500 in Allegan County, almost 1,000 in Oceana County. We have 3,600 customers out in Muskegon County and 1,500 in Mason County. So we do have a significant jump in power outages. Go ahead and really pull that up for you guys. See the outage map there. Mason, Oceana, Muskegon, Ottawa, Allegan counties, as well as Van Buren County. Of course, there's some outages elsewhere as well. We've got 388 in Newaygo County, 270 in Kent, 108 in Lake County. So definitely some power outages out there. Taking a look at the Consumers Energy Outage Map, which is the primary electrical service provider for most of our area, you can see where the bulk of those outages are in and around the Holland area, from about Muskegon to Holland, and then over to the Allendale area. Right in here, is where our greatest concentration of power outages is, where those winds have been the most intense.
This is Jacob here once again. I just wanted to chime in, and I know you mentioned the 63 mile per hour gusts earlier. I also wanted to bring up that at 5:46 p.m. at the Muskegon Pier, at 5:46 p.m. this evening, there was actually a 64 mile per hour wind gust.
Oh,
So that's near the Roosevelt Park area, the Muskegon Pier out there. 64 mile per hour wind gust, and that was at 5:46 p.m. this evening.
yeah. So the Roosevelt Park is right in here. This is Roosevelt Park here, so the pier is going to be right in this area here. So 64 miles per hour there near Muskegon and Norton Shores, Roosevelt Park area. So, and again, obviously, that is where the bulk of our power outages is in that Muskegon and Ottawa County area there along the lakeshore. Quite a few accidents in Kent County, again, like we mentioned, pretty much all over the board. No real one specific area. We might have lost Owen there, might have lost cell service, but if he comes back, we'll get him right back in here. How much snow do you guys have at this point? I was going to look before the stream started here. What do you guys have outside your windows? Let us know in the comments. We're at about 2 inches here at West Michigan Weather Headquarters during our last stream. Let me take a look outside and see if I can't see. About the same here right now, maybe as much as 3 inches. That's kind of hard to tell because it's dark outside, but definitely still have that heavy snow falling out there. Specifically, we're looking at these dark blue colors. This is probably going to end up being one of our favorite lake effect bands in here. And another one here in these winter storm warning areas. Those are going to be our lake effect bands, and in fact, this might even be the start of one of those bands right there. As lake effect starts to become the dominant precipitation type out there this evening. And we've got winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings in effect until 7 p.m. tomorrow. I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Jacob?
Oh no, you're good. I was just looking at my door cameras here in Ithaca, and it looks like maybe a dusting starting on the grass. Earlier, I mentioned it was mainly the elevated surfaces, but now it's kind of looking at the grass. From what I could tell, roadways are still. I mean, with it being below freezing, there might be ice on there, but nothing. Still not too bad. It looks like right now, but it is snowing at a light rate here, and we do have a little dusty on the ground now. So.
Good, so yeah, Jacob's over here in Ithaca, in Gratiot County. And as you can see, there's not even really anything on radar over there, but it is still snowing. My guess is that they're getting that snow carried by the very strong winds still.
Yeah. And the thing about that is, once you get up into the Gratiot, up towards the Mount Pleasant, Clare areas, it's in that little bit of where the free radars, but the Grand Rapids, the right wake radar, which covers Detroit, and the Gaylord radar, and so in that area, it's kind of in between the free, so it could sometimes overlook especially with these lake effect type events. It could kind of overshoot the snow, so you won't see it on radar.
Yep, a
But
very good point as well.
that's why we have ground truth. Like I was just looking at my doorbell cameras, I could see it's still snowing. So
Yep, very good point. we're hoping eventually to get some private industry weather radars in the Tri-Cities area here. That should help with that, but Jacob makes a very good point. The radar here from the Grand Rapids radar site might just be cutting off the snow a little bit. We'll have our blizzard warnings ongoing up here in the Upper Peninsula. Lots of people without power up there. Again, in case you missed it earlier, we are tracking another system for the weekend with a pretty good baseline for minimum totals of about 4 inches. And then, of course, we could see totals higher than that very easily. So, again, 4 inches is kind of a safe bet for a minimum across the area. Most areas are going to receive at least 4 inches. That's the current thinking right now, but I think totals will be much higher. And at the end of both of these events, I would not be surprised to see many of our locations wind up with over a foot of snow. So that is what's on tap. So not only are we dealing with hazardous travel tonight and into tomorrow morning, but we're also going to be dealing with hazardous travel once again for the return trip home this weekend on Saturday and into Sunday. Got our MDOT map pulled up here once again. See here, these red exclamation marks are road hazards. Most of these are crashes. We do have one that's just a disabled vehicle up here near the Kent and Montcalm County line, actually very close to the West Michigan Weather Headquarters there. Then we do have a crash on eastbound I-96 there, a crash over in Holland. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we are starting to see definitely a lot more yellow, orange, and red colors out there on our MDOT Drive map than we are green colors. So green means that traffic is flowing at its normal rate, just like it would on any other day. And as those yellows or those greens turn to yellows, those are slowdowns. Oranges are those moderate slowdowns, and those reds are significant slowdowns. So lots of slow going travel, probably about 10 to 20 miles per hour under what you would normally do, what traffic's flowing out at there this evening. So gonna shoot Owen a quick message here. See what
Jonah, I am back.
Oh.
I am
there we go.
eastbound on I-96, just getting off the on-ramp from 28th Street in Kentwood. So I'm now eastbound 96 at 36th Street.
Okay, so Owen is eastbound I-96 at 36. And just a heads up for you, Owen, we do have looks like a crash right at a Cascade Road there on 96.
All right. We will see what we come across.
Like the left lane is blocked, so
Left lane eastbound 96 at Cascade.
yep, it's the ramp to East Paris. It looks like.
Oh, that will be.
It'll be
That is
off to your
behind me,
right.
actually.
Oh, is it?
Yep, I am east of that point already.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yes, you are. I was thinking 28th Street was further back, but
I would like to point out that the highway is salted at this point, so It is keeping much of the road clear, but streets like East Paris Patterson Avenue, for example, were completely snow covered. And then the overpass I just went over back there a couple minutes ago, were also completely snow covered, just like those side streets were. So right now, flow of traffic is about 55 on 96 eastbound. Um, Roads are still primarily wet. It's the most fitting description I have right now. But any open area where the wind is able to dry it out, the snow is sticking a lot better.
All right, thank you. A little bit choppy there, but we got the most of that, I think. So doing about 55 miles an hour. So just like we said, we're about 10 to 20 miles per hour under what you would normally be doing out there. And then we do have our bridges and overpasses that are slick. Roads mainly wet and slushy right now with plenty of snow accumulation able to stick there in those more open areas where the wind can drive through there. So visibility doesn't look too bad out there right now. Of course, it's kind of hard to tell because
Nope,
it's dark.
I have very light falling snow right now, and there's not much blowing going on at the moment in a bit of a wooded area. So
All right, sounds good. Not seeing any other accidents that you're going to be coming across. I'll keep an eye on MDOT map and whatnot for you, but it's like just kind of slow going travel for the most part.
got you.
Just for those of you watching this, this live briefing will probably go until about 8:30 or so, right around there. We have our next set of primary model data coming in right now, so be curious to see what that looks like.
Do see some hazards coming up here. Say vehicle off to the shoulder, about a half mile. See what that's about. Maybe a couple vehicles here.
All right. For you guys traveling tomorrow morning, it looks like our biggest impacts are going to be north of I-96 in our northern winter storm warning. We'll still have some snow falling south of I-96, but it looks like the bulk of our impacts is going to be north of I-96. Our computer models are still throwing totals out for additional snowfall of up to 6 inches in those areas, 6 to 7 inches. So, be keeping a close eye on those.
All right, as we continue to go east here, coming up to Alden Nash, looking at the roads, compared to what we were at in Cascade Township, even the highway now is a little bit more two-track, whether that is because it's more of an open area or there's less traffic out this way. Nevertheless, the shoulders are covered in snow and the lanes of travel are two-tracked. So I think that's kind of a combination of both factors, less traffic and it's more open out here. But that's something to keep in mind as you drive, not even 5 miles or 5 minutes. Conditions can change very quickly.
Yep, that's really
Yeah.
good.
Yep, thank you for that, Owen. That is a very good point. And that's especially the case with these lake effect type setups, and now become even more important tomorrow as the lake effect, while we still will have snow, it probably will not be quite as widespread as it is tonight. So that'll be even more important to bring up that just because you don't see snow in one particular spot, 10, 20 minutes down the road, it could be snowing quite a bit. So
Absolutely, and I don't think that's quite exactly what we're seeing here. I think that was more just to do with the terrain in that area, but the fact of the matter still stands.
To sort of give you guys a little bit of a look at what we're thinking through Friday evening for snowfall totals. Again, this is not additional snowfall. This is total snowfall for our entire system here. Pretty good, widespread, 1 to 3 inches outside of our winter storm warning areas, or 1 to 5 inches, I'm sorry, outside of our winter storm warning areas. And then within our winter storm warning areas, we could see those totals up near 8 inches with locally higher amounts possible. And then, so again, this is 7 p.m. Friday. And then this is not a forecast or anything. This is just a preliminary look at some of what the general consensus of some of our more major model players are for the weekend as we head into Friday evening. And then into Saturday morning, we start to see the snow machine ramp up again. And very quickly, we will see some pretty heavy snowfall. And again, this is not, don't pay attention to the final totals. This is not necessarily a forecast. Some of the model members in this particular image are going to be overdoing totals, so they will probably be a little bit less. But nonetheless, it just kind of gives you an idea of just how much snow is going to ramp up again for the holiday weekend travel back home. So as people return home, there are definitely going to be the possibilities of some travel concerns. So again, that's not a forecast. Don't pay attention to those numbers, but just to kind of indicate the travel impacts are not going to stop for people's return trips home. Could even be a little bit worse. So
Even if that's a good point, Jonah, but even if we do end up seeing less snow in terms of less number of inches, that snow is going to be more widespread than what we're seeing tonight. And it will make it even that much more difficult for the crews to deal with a widespread event like that.
Yep.
So that could lead to more widespread poor conditions rather than those localized super really bad spots that we get with
yep, this weekend is definitely going to be it's what we call system snow. And the system snow is going to be driven largely actually by warm air coming into the region because it's going to be quite cold already. So we're going to have warm air trying to filter in, and that's going to provide what we call lift, the lifting mechanism to get some of the snow going. And so typically when we have warm air advection snowstorms, which are our rarest kind of snowstorms. They're also typically our most impactful snowstorms in terms of the accumulation at the least. So it's that very heavy, wet snowfall. So it could definitely be a good, impactful, plowable snow event this upcoming Saturday. So
On that note, what I am on my way home to go do is work on the snowblower. I encourage all of you to do the same. Make sure you've got shovels ready. You've got your snowblowers in operation mode. Got gas for snowblowers, gas for generators. Make sure you've got appropriate clothing for clearing the snow. And then, just as a general health reminder, shoveling and snowblowing snow can be strenuous work. So if you ever feel lightheaded, dizzy, or anything like that as we go throughout this winter season, when you're clearing snow, recognize that it can be strenuous work. And if you feel unwell, it's okay to stop and seek medical attention if need be.
Yeah, that is a very good point, Owen. Thank you for bringing that up. So
about 38,000 without power now.
Looks like I might see some flashing lights on the other side of the highway here. Maybe not. Nope, I was wrong. I take it back.
Temperatures fall, the ambient air temperature and roadway temperature will continue to fall. For into still the early season, so ground is still relatively. That'll make final total over. Melting with the air. Vast majority will continue Friday morning. At the lake. Travel conditions will to like times and 90% chance all for plus inches up here and allow for extra travel tonight and Thanksgiving. Event total fall graph for our area.
like check 1 2 can. Okay, because I was just seeing that you were cutting out Jonah apparently. So.
Like cutting.
Yep.
I fixed it. We'll see. I just messed with my mic a little bit.
So if you could let us know in chat, to those of you who mentioned that Joan was cutting out, we might have fixed it. Please let us know.
While we're at it, might as well talk about the Weather Prediction Center's latest update as well, for what they were thinking. Putting this into a new tab so we can see it a little bit better. I know it's a little smaller than the other graphic. So this is from Friday through Sunday. So again, this is talking about that event that I was showing on the computer models earlier. You can see that we have a pretty large area here, centered over much of our area in these very dark blue colors, 70, 80, 90% chance for 6 or more inches of snow. And again, the confidence in this event is only increasing. So we are looking at impactful post-holiday travel.
All right, we are going to be getting off here onto some more back roads. Going to be getting off I-96 at the Jordan Lake off ramp for Lake Odessa. And we'll see what things look like on the side streets and the ramps here. Ramps are partially snow covered, especially where the wind can blow over them.
Those west-southwest facing sides of the ramp there.
Yep. I don't think there's any ice underneath this snow, but just the cooler surface temperatures allowing for the snow to stick. Definitely a lot more blowing snow now that I'm on a north-south road here. Do have some slight drifting starting to begin pretty east of the lake here, so not too much snow to actually build up any significant drifts, but you can tell that the wind is really whipping out here on this north-south road.
Yeah, so this north-south road will give you guys an idea if you're on US 31, if you're on US 131, if you're on any of our north-south M roads, really that are west of US 131, those are going to be pretty impactful, and that is certainly looks like the case looking at our MDOT map. M37 in Kenton County is pretty slow going. US 131 itself is slow going. M37 in Newaygo County, they're all pretty slow going there for sure.
There is some ice in these open areas here. The road looks two-tracked with clear pavement, but in this particular stretch, this black area is actually iced over. So something to be mindful of. On the highway, things looked very wet. There wasn't any ice, but every road is different. This road and these black areas here is iced over.
Callie, I hope or Callie or Kaylee, I'm sorry. I hope I got that right for one of those pronunciations, is asking, is it snowing or windy? And it's kind of a combination of both.
Currently, I don't see much snow falling. Majority of what you see on your screen right now is all blowing snow.
Yep. So again, Owen is in Ionia, heading towards Berry County. So he's kind of further away from the lake. He's east of US 131 there. So he's further away from those snow bands. So he's definitely got some blowing snow there. But as you work your way closer to Lake Michigan, you'll have a combination of falling and blowing snow. So it kind of just depends on where you're at. Nonetheless, you can see there's snow over those north-south roads, especially those secondary roadways. And it can be pretty slick with areas of reduced visibility.
This section of the road, there's not as much snow blowing up in front of my windshield. It's kind of sticking down towards the ground. The ditch is kind of mounted up to the road so it doesn't get kicked up over. But still, in the brakes there, feels like it's still iced over underneath there. Regardless of where that wind is actually blowing over the road.
We'll keep our stream going here for another few minutes. We're probably going to wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh,
wow.
Hello.
There you go. That's an example of how much a short distance can make a difference, right? We were talking about.
Yeah, that was a brief whiteout there for a second.
Yep. You're going to run into those periods of whiteout conditions where those winds can whip through those open fields, or maybe there's a body of water where you're at driving. Any open area that's not protected by trees or buildings, the wind will definitely blow snow around in there.
Yeah, and one thing, Jonah, if you're interested, once I turn my camera off, and I can throw my anemometer up and try and get a wind speed reading for you if that's something you'd be interested in. There's some good drifts there in that shoulder. Those are about a foot tall, I'd say, on the shoulder of the road right there.
Yeah, for sure. We can definitely get a.
Wow. Hello.
There's those areas of reduced visibility, significant blowing and drifting snow through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get us a wind gust reading, that would be great.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be off the air for that, but I can definitely do it and send it to you. And if you want to relay it over the stream, or we can just do a post afterwards. I guess I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, we'll definitely get it out to everyone in some way, shape, or form.
All right, starting to come into Lake Odessa now, and we'll get. I'll hit a couple of the M roads here. I'll hit M50, then M66, and then M43. Give a brief overview of what all those roads look like. Then I'll be hopping out and getting some wind measurements. That should conclude our live stream. About a foot of snow drifted over the road back there. Very bumpy. I don't know if you guys can see that, but kind of acts like a speed bump.
Great. Well, thank you very much. So we're going to check out M50 and M43, I believe he said. His audio was kind of in and out there, but got, again, significant drifting snow over the roadways there with snow drifts over a foot. Get some wind gusts going as well for you guys so we get an idea of just how windy it is out there still. And within the last couple of hours, we've had several 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts reported along the lakeshore. Obviously aren't intense further inland you go, but certainly widespread 40 to 60-mile-per-hour gusts continuing here in West Michigan this evening. Just taking a look at our Consumers Energy power outage map again. Consumers Energy is the electrical provider for much of our area. We've got a lot more what I would call patchy power outages popping up, really from Montague there in Muskegon County, all the way down through Twin Lake, North Muskegon, and into parts of Ottawa County. Have a lot of more isolated power outages starting to pop up there. Up to 17,000 customers with Consumers Energy without power. Into Allegan County here, approaching Van Buren County.
All right. So we are headed east on this is M50 eastbound, heading out of Lake Odessa, heading towards Woodbury. M50 eastbound out of Lake Odessa.
I also wanted to mention behind the scenes, I'm also looking at the Indiana Michigan power outage map. That provider is primarily more of the southwestern portions of our coverage area for like portions of Van Buren, Berrien, Cass, and St. Joseph counties. And looking at that outage map behind the scenes here, we have 191 customer outages in Berrien County, 389 customer outages in Van Buren County, and looks like 37 customer outages there in Cass County. So, and maybe a few customers without power, fewer than 5, according to the map here in St. Joseph County. So again, that Indiana Michigan power outage map I'm looking at behind the scenes. Again, that one's more the southwestern corner of the state, and then in the northern Indiana. So.
Well, thanks
Thank you,
for
Jacob.
mentioning that, Jacob. Appreciate it. Reason we're not kind of showing that is because it's not as user friendly. Sorry, go ahead, Owen.
As I continue my drive here, the thing that I'm noticing most is that the open areas are by far providing the worst road conditions. Anytime there's a field or a parking lot or otherwise an open area, there's at least an inch of snow over the road, and it's wet for the most part. So the wind's really doing a great job of drying those areas out and allowing the snow to stick. So think about your commute tomorrow. Even just kind of some suburban commercial areas with large parking lots. That'll be something to keep an eye out for tonight into tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. Yep, so those open areas continuing to be noted as the worst areas for that snowfall and those poor road conditions where that wind can blow through there, dry the pavement out, cool the pavement down, and allow that snow to accumulate and blow onto the roadway, causing that drifting snow and reduced visibility.
All right, I'm still continuing eastbound on M50, coming up to M66, which we're going to head south on M66 from Woodbury.
Perfect. So this is another north-south road, and remember, we've been talking about our north-south roads. When we have westerly winds or even southwesterly, northwesterly winds, our north-south roads are typically the most impacted roadways. So any road that heads from north to south, so US 131, US 31, M66, M37, all of those north-south oriented roadways are going to be the worst for travel. And it looks like we got a little bit of a slip and slide there where he just drove through.
Yeah, there's even in those not north-south roads, you can see right here, there is just a slight southern component to those winds that we are seeing, so it's allowing some drifts and some snow to build up, even on those east-west roads. So as we take the turn right here to go south on M66, we'll see what another north-south road has in store for us. This stretch of 66 is not nearly as open as most of M66 is in Ionia County. We're actually into Berry County now, which has a little bit more wooded areas along 66. So that's probably explaining why it's not as snow covered as that section of M50 was.
Very much.
And just like that, things can change.
Get a nice open area there, and we've got a ton of snow over the roadways and blowing snow.
Wow.
Really significant reduced visibility there.
Yeah, get back into a wooded area here. It clears up very nice.
So watch for those wooded areas. We've got a lot of accidents starting to show up on the Michigan Drive map now across the area in multiple different counties. We've got at least 2 accidents in Kent on the MI Drive map, 2 in Allegan County, 1 in Van Buren County, and 1 in Ionia County, 1 in Berry, 1 in Kalamazoo. A lot of accidents starting to show up on the Michigan Drive map, and keep in mind that that doesn't show all the accidents. It only shows them when the individual county websites are communicating with the Michigan Department of Transportation, or when something is reported to MDOT, either by an employee or through 911 dispatch or something to that effect. So a lot of accidents starting to populate, and again, we're seeing a lot of yellow and reds on that Michigan Drive map showing slowed travel.
Yeah, and so I'm taking a right to go east here, or sorry, west on M43 here. And another thing to note about that map is that's only on the Michigan maintained roads. So that's going to be your US routes, your M roads, and the interstates. So any local county road is not going to show up. Those accidents won't show up there either.
Yep.
And this is an east-west road, and you can see there's probably a good 4 inches on that lane to the left of your screen. So again, it's not just those north-south roads that you need to be watching out for.
Yep, absolutely.
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 All right. Coming into Woodland here now. And this is where we're going to sign off and going to get things prepared for the morning snow cleanup and the snow to come this weekend.
All right. Well, thanks for giving us a live look at road conditions in Kent, Ionia, and Berry County there on this evening. Appreciated. Again, just because you're not in Ionia, Berry, or Kent counties, that's what it's going to look like really across the area. So we'll go ahead and end our stream here. Big thanks to Levi from Ottawa County for sending this to us via Twitter. That's a perfect reminder to take this opportunity to follow us. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, really any major social media platform, or join us in Discord. All of our links are also on our website at westmichiganweather.net. And you've seen those links down on the bottom of your screen, kind of cycling throughout this stream. Stay safe, stay warm. Remember that the snow is not done yet. We'll continue to see impacts into Thanksgiving tomorrow. Have a brief break on Friday for most of the area, and then again we're tracking another major system for Saturday. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks to Owen and Jacob, and we will see you guys for the next update.